Let's just get this out of the way at the start, okay? This is not a review. I didn't lure you here with a clickbait title. And this isn't a clever way for me to sneak in my opinion about the game. And let's be honest, we're all anonymous here. There's no reason to lie. You don't even want my review. My review is totally meaningless, and at least I have the self-awareness to know that.
Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die. Come watch TV.
You already knew whether you were going to buy Far Cry 5 before you even clicked play. It's not like it's some obscure indie underground game with a weird cult following. This is a huge AAA title with a big marketing campaign. It even has a little tie-in movie on Amazon, for God's sake.
Doesn't sound legal.
You don't need me to tell you whether you want to play Far Cry 5 any more than you need me to tell you whether you're planning to see Avengers Infinity War or play the next FIFA game or keep watching The Walking Dead. And I understand some of you are sticking with it. The Walking Dead, that is. Godspeed. Let me know if you want us to send a UN helicopter with aid workers and blankets and a coherent plot development. 90% of you have already made up your mind about Far Cry 5. And you're not wrong to do that. You probably played the previous Far Cry titles. You know what the games are like. You know what to expect. You probably already know exactly how much you're going to enjoy the game. And that guess is probably dead on too. That isn't a criticism of Far Cry or Ubisoft. This is a franchise that has set certain expectations and delivered on them over and over. This is a good thing. I know in certain corners of the internet, it is trendy to shit on companies that consistently produce high-quality games with multi-million-dollar budgets. Who doesn't like to take a few swings at Goliath now and then? Especially when you know he's not going to try to hit you back. Hell, he probably doesn't even know you exist. I'm going to do something radical. I'm going to praise a big game company for consistently doing what they're supposed to do. They make good, shiny, glossy games that people want to play. And that's what we pay them for. Far Cry 5 is the 6th installment in Ubisoft's flagship franchise. And at this point, it counts as a powerhouse, mainstream game. And in the game world at least, it's a household name. You know, like Coca-Cola, Tide, or Monosat 7. When you really want to enjoy your yeast infection for a full week instead of a few days, use Monosat 7.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
And while we're on the subject of persistent irritation, I will acknowledge that Far Cry games aren't perfect, but they're not a yeast infection either. Really, no game is perfect. There's always a comical bug or unintended consequence of ragdoll effects that the internet will exploit for laughs. No doubt, someone will discover that if you stealth into a certain part of a cave, you can sneak up behind a male deer and hump it. And then they'll make a gift, or a GIF. I think it's a GIF, man. I'm part of the GIF camp, okay? If people who say GIF, fine, you can continue to do that, but I'm in the GIF faction. Anyways, they'll make a gift of it, and they'll share it online, and the next thing you know, Far Cry will be trending as hashtag the deer humper. But tiny nitpicks don't do anything to undermine the bigger point. This is a signature brand with a signature style. What I'm trying to say is that when you buy a Far Cry game, you know exactly what you're going to get out of it. It's going to hit all the hallmarks of the franchise and what it's known for. It's going to have excellent shooting. It's going to have great combat mechanics. And every Far Cry title seems to have something to add to this. I mean, if you remember back in Far Cry Primal, they added animal companions, which was a fantastic feature. I mean, who didn't like exploring and fighting with a trusty animal friend by your side? I mean, the Badger was my jam, yo. I mean, who didn't like the Badger? And if you didn't, then you're crazy. Anyways, Far Cry 5 has a canine buddy named Boomer, which feels really appropriate to this world. And I have a soft spot for in-game dog companions. Man, you don't even want to know how long it took me to name my Mambari. 7 minutes, okay? It took me 7 minutes. And you can't rush these things. When you're ordering your fearless canine companion in battle, you don't want to be yelling, "Go get him, Scruffy!" All those other warriors and NPCs are going to be laughing at you. Now, other Far Cry titles have added vehicle combat, innovative new approaches to skill trees, complicated cover, and healing mechanics. And a lot more. And not every Far Cry title tries to be revolutionary, but they each try to add something to the game to challenge the player and make the narrative and the world seem more immersive. And what a world it is. The open world map is one of the game's biggest strengths and selling points. Far Cry 5 will take place in the fictional Hope County, Montana, a part of the United States that's not often a setting for video games, at least games that don't have a deer and crosshairs on the cover of the game. The worlds of Far Cry are almost a character in themselves. They've always fully fleshed out and realized, with dynamic weather and appropriate flora and fauna. The fauna in this case tends to be rather aggressive and deadly at times. Bad. Bad native fauna. Bad. You lie there. You think about what you did. Far Cry titles always include a complementary crafting system that matches the story and the world it takes place in. Far Cry 5 has a North American hunting experience which includes grizzlies. You even get a companion grizzly bear named Cheeseburger, because he likes cheeseburgers and whoever named him is not a very complex person. Did you know that in 2011, a hunter in Montana was killed by a wounded grizzly bear that he and his partner had already shot? Apparently, the surviving hunter said it just kept coming. So when you feel a grizzly full of lead in Far Cry 5, but it still charges you and turns you into a loose collection of teeth and denim, that's not a glitch or a bug, that's realism. The other signature element of Far Cry's games are its strong villain-driven narrative. And over the years, Far Cry has produced some really great villains. They're often chilling without being generic, and you generally cannot wait to bring them down. It's a solid combination of good storytelling and really good voice acting. In 5, you're going to be going after Joseph Seed, the leader of the Eden Gate cult. He's played by Greg Brack. Look, it's because we're on a first name basis, so I never use this last name. Yo, Greg, hit me up. Now, you might remember Greg from The Expanse, and if you haven't watched The Expanse yet, what are you waiting for? It's an original multi-character sci-fi story that doesn't have the word star in the title. How often does those come along? So, no, you don't need me to review this game. Reviews are totally pointless when it comes to titles like Far Cry 5. Why do we even read or watch reviews in the first place? If you're honest, you're going to admit that it's just so you can argue with the reviewer, or give him a thumbs up for having the intelligence to agree with you.
I don't understand the question, and I won't respond to it.
And this whole process is made even sillier by the fact that most video game reviewers use this ridiculous 10-point system to rate their games. I'm not even going to sugarcoat this. The 10-point system is meaningless garbage. It pretends to be objective when it's really just a way to cover your ass. And what do I mean by that? I guarantee you right now, someone is preparing a review where they're going to give this game a 7 out of 10. That is the most chicken shit review that you could possibly give. You're basically telling people, hey, it's not good, but it's not bad. How totally useless is that? It's like shrugging your shoulders and saying meh.
This guy's gonna hurt us, Walter?
No, Donnie. These men are cowards.
What it really means is the reviewer thinks the game is good, but they don't want to go on a limb about it. 7 out of 10 is the reviewer telling you that the game isn't bad enough to upset anyone, but not worth the risk of being called a fanboy, because gamers would rather someone call them an inbred sheep fucker than a fanboy. 7 out of 10 is the laziest, safest possible grade you can give a game.
I love these lazy Saturdays.
It's Wednesday, Homer.
Work!
And in case you can't tell, I can't stand the 10-point rating system. How can you pretend there's some kind of qualitative difference between a game that is rated 4 versus a game that's rated 5? And don't tell me it's one better. You sound like Nigel Tufnell trying to explain why the amp goes to 11.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
Here's where I'll cover my own ass by pointing out that I did say 90% of you don't need a review to know where you're going to play or buy Far Cry 5. That means 10% of you do. That's the same 10% who show up during election years, blinking into the news cameras and saying they just can't decide who they want to vote for. It's the same 10% who post 1-star Amazon reviews because they're mad about some shipping issue or they didn't read the description of the product they just paid for. So yeah, that 10% will probably be looking for someone to tell them whether to buy this game or not. So let me help them out. Hey there, Ken, part of the 10%. I understand you need someone to tell you objectively how good this game is. Let me help you out. It's a 7 out of 10. Did you like this video, or at least tolerate it? Then why not like it, and then gently, and I mean very gently, tap the subscribe button. Don't smash it. What did the subscribe button ever do to you? That's no way to treat an innocent button. Try a softer approach. Maybe a caress. Talk to it a little first. Like, hello, subscribe button. What do you think of the weather we've been having? Would you like to maybe get coffee this weekend? This is a really cool concert I got tickets for.